Welcome to this video of aspireforgmat.com. Before attempting this question, please take the practice test at www.aspireforgmat.com and then verify your answers against this video, which will be available after you answer the question at our site. The link for the free Aspire for GMAT course is also available in the description box below. Just register on the site and enroll for the course. There are many such tests available. If you have any doubts or queries that you would like us to clarify, post in the GMAT forum and we will answer your questions. Our instructors can also solve these problems in a video which will be available at our site for your benefit. Next question we're going to discuss is this one. What is the value of x? Now this question basically gives you two statements. These statements give you certain values for average and median, and you need to know the concepts of average and median to confirm whether these two statements are sufficient or not. Now again, the confirmation policy is just like any other data sufficiency concept. You need to know first of all whether a particular statement is enough, whether it is sufficient to find the value or whatever is given in the question, whatever is asked in the question, whether out of the two statements given, one of the statements is sufficient, whether the other statement is sufficient or insufficient, and whether both the statements together are sufficient or whether both the statements together are not at all sufficient. Based on these, you will be able to decide whether it is option A, B, C, D, E or E, which is the answer. Also, you need to, it would be faster for you during the final exam or the final GMAT actual exam if you would do a lot of such problems and would know it from memory, what A, B, C, D and E options stand for. For example, when you should know out of memory, because these options are not going to change. So A is always going to stand for the fact that statement 1 alone is sufficient, while statement 2 is not sufficient alone by itself. Statement 2 alone is sufficient, but statement 1 is not going to be sufficient all by itself, is what option B is going to stand for. So C, D and E similarly are going to stand for what they mean right now. These concepts are not going to change, and so you can save a lot of time by not reading these questions and trying to sort it out during the exam, which option must be the right answer or what do I choose. So for this, if you practice a lot of such similar questions, you would actually get a hang of what stands for what, which option stands for what exactly. So that is how you should practice it out. We will right now first brush up on what average and median means. Just in case you need a small brush up, we will brush up on the concept of average and median, just what is required for this problem, and then we will find out how to solve this question and how to confirm which of these options is the right answer. Now the next problem, in this problem, the next thing that we are going to discuss about is what is the basic concept of average and median. Now average is basically found as the sum of the given number of elements divided by the number of elements. For example, let's just take that there are 5 elements, 10, 5, 6, 9, 11, or let it be just some random numbers like x, y, z, a, b. Then we know that these are 5 elements. So arithmetic mean would be the sum of these numbers by 5 or by the number of elements. So this can be characterized as nothing but the average value. Average value is nothing but the if you were able to find the middle, or not exactly the middle, if you were able to find sort of a summed up value, this is what it would be. This value would, all these values would revolve around the central value, the average value. Now if you take the median, now this is also known as mean. Now if you were about to take the median is nothing but if you arrange, it is actually the central value or the middle value of a set of values. For example, if you see in the number line and you sort of adjust all the values, order it in an ascending order or in an ascending fashion, you would observe that the middle value would be the median. For example, let's just take these numbers. So what you would do is, to find the median, you would adjust these numbers in ascending order. That would be 2, 5, 9, 10, 12, and you would know that the middle value is the median. Now in case this is fine, in case it's an odd number of elements, always you would have an odd number of element in the middle, and that would be your median. What do you do if it was an even number? For example, if it was 2, 5, you arranged all the numbers in ascending order and you found that this was the order. Here you see there's no middle number because there are 6 numbers, and 8 and 9 are the third and the fourth number respectively. At such a point, you would take the average. Average is just what we studied here, the central number around which the other numbers would be equidistant or would be average of. So would be revolving around that central number. Now that central number is what average is. So in this case it would be 8 plus 9 by 2, that is 8.5. If you see, 8 and 9 both are equidistant from 8.5. That is why it's called the average value. So in case there are even number of elements, a median would be the sum of the middle 2 elements, while in case it's an odd number of elements, the median would be the middle element. Now, how do we exactly use these concepts for this particular problem? Now, what does the problem say? The first statement says that the average of a certain number of values, that is 5 plus x squared plus 2 plus 10x plus 3. Now, the average of these values is when the sum is divided by 5. Now, this is equal to minus 3 is given in the question. So, this is simple. We have a quadratic equation. Now, that quadratic equation would contain an x square value and an x value. Some constant would be here, and it would contain an x value. So, it would be similar to x square plus cx plus k is equal to 0. You will need to find the value of x. This can be done, but anyway, if you just need to solve it, just to confirm it, you can solve it. So this gives you x square plus 10x plus 25 is equal to 0. You know that this is equal to x plus 5 square is equal to 0. So x is equal to minus 5. It gives you an individual value of x because both the equations give you the same value. X is equal to minus 5. So this is sufficient. Now let's have a layout of all the answers. A, B, C, D, E. You know A is sufficient, so it cannot be B because B says A is not sufficient. It cannot be C because A and B together are not sufficient. A alone is sufficient. It cannot be E because it says A and B together are not sufficient. That is 1 and 2 together are not sufficient. We know 1 is sufficient, so that is out of the question. Now let's evaluate the second option. Second option says that the median of a certain number of elements is minus 5. Median is the middle value. Now, what are those elements that are being referred to? Those elements are 109, minus 32, minus 30, 208, minus 15, x, 10, minus 43 and 7. Now, let's arrange these numbers in ascending order so that you can confirm what would be the middle value. The ascending order would look something like this: minus 43, minus 32, minus 30, minus 15, 7, 10, 109, 208. So if you see the number of elements, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But there is this element x. And we don't see this element x anywhere here because we have not listed it right now. We don't know where exactly to place it because this is a variable. We don't know what exactly the value of this variable is. However, it's given that the middle value of these, now you know that including these x there are 9 elements. So the middle value of these 9 elements would be your median. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. Something must be located here. That is the median and its value is minus 5. Now since nothing is located here, it could be 7, but 7 is not equal to minus 5. It can't be minus 15 because that's not equal to minus 5. So x can't be located on the left. X can't be located on the right. If it was located on the left, minus 15 would be the fifth element. That was minus 43, minus 32, minus 30. One of these elements, one of another elements on the left side would be x, and minus 15 would be the fifth element. Minus 15 is not equal to minus 5 because the median is said to be minus 5. Minus 15 is not equal to minus 5. X cannot be on the left. Similarly, x cannot be on the right because if x were on the right, 7 would be the fifth element. X would be somewhere over here, suppose. And 7 is the fifth element. 7 is not equal to minus 5. Median is mentioned to be minus 5. So, x is the only possible element that can be present in the fifth position. Here, the only value that can take this place is x. So, x must be equal to minus 5. So, this also gives us the value of x, and therefore, this is sufficient. So, now we know since this is sufficient, the answer cannot be A, because A says that 2 is not sufficient. The answer must be D, and that's how we solve this.